Hi, my name is Kania, and I'm a professional musician who simply loves to draw. Pretty much, I have always drawn and kind of created characters and had fun since I was, little. My mom used to bring home paper and stationery, and I have a great love for stationery, and I am a professional musician. I have a master's degree in music performance, and I am a college professor, and I teach middle schoolers through high school, and basically on beginner clarinet, beginner saxophone. And a lot of times on my spare time, when I have spare time, and due to COVID, I did have a lot of spare time, as many of us did, and still trying to teach, and then you have gaps in between classes and you're online. I would, in my breaks, start drawing and coloring. But when the summer hit and there wasn't really any gigs going on, and honestly I wasn't well myself, I ended up getting sick and was told that I couldn't practice for a while, and that was due to my heart condition, which I have right now. And so since I couldn't play anything and I had to wait to practice, which was kind of depressing because I really, I'm always practicing all my instruments, and I said, well, I gotta do something. So it's really funny because I came across this whole bullet journal community. And of course, if you're a bullet journaler, you probably know Amanda Rach Lee, who I started watching heavily. Like, when I say heavily, I mean like every day when I was at home. And then I would teach like a lesson online, the best I could without playing. And then I would go back watching her and bullet journaling. And that's when I kind of learned about bullet journaling and the bullet journal community. And I was like, oh my goodness, like when my schedule does pick back up and I'm feeling better, this can really help me. Bullet journaling can really actually help me. And I mean, I used to use the Happy Planner, with all the stickers and stuff, but I actually get a lot of joy out of bullet journaling because you're kind of creating your own spread. And with stickers, you can do that too. And I actually do use stickers in my spreads and everything. But, of course, from there, I started watching her do stationery tutorials, which, like I said, found my YouTube community. I was like, I thought I was bad with stationery, but now I feel better because I found you guys who love stationery, love to color, love markers. And so, I really got into coloring more, creating more, and I was actually already in the process of creating characters for a friend of mine that we're actually working on a cartoon for real. And I started getting more into character creation, and that's when I purchased Jazz's Ultimate Character Design book, which you should check out because that actually helped out a lot with creating character design. And I actually started watching him that summer as well, and when I was not feeling well and trying to get better. So I got kind of hooked on Amanda Rach Lee, and then I got hooked on Jazza. And honestly, the reason why I started watching Jazza is because he had the name Jazz in the name. So I was assuming that it had something to do with jazz. And that's because I play a lot of jazz because, I play saxophone, I play jazz clarinet. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, what's this about? And I'm like, oh, wait, he's an artist. But he does have a beautiful voice. He can sing. So that was a plus. So not only is an artist, he's also very talented musically as well. So start watching him, and then of course everybody watches Drawing with Waffles. If you are in the art community, these are, I'm sure, the 3 people that you watch. Like I said, I'm not an artist per se, but I am a musician, and I do like to create characters and draw and color. And now to get into the reason why I started this video was because I wanted to show kind of like my blending process and what I've learned from blending markers and from other people. And I hope you kind of enjoy. I did throw in a little illustration at the end. So hope you enjoy the video. Okay. So to how I blend, tried to paint my nails so they would look somewhat decent in the video. So I did this little sheet here, and I pretty much am gonna do like solid color and try to show you guys how I do 2 colors, and show you guys how I do 3 colors, and then I'm gonna do 3 different colors. And then I'm gonna put all that into this little illustration here. So this is KK Bear, and she's basically a pink bear. And if you hear some oinky noises, that is my guinea pig. She's oinking right now because she's hungry. And I'm gonna feed you, I promise. So the first color that I'm gonna do, and I think a gnat there, I just saw it. But first color I'm gonna do is green, and I'm actually using a Copic green, or Copic green, however you want to pronounce that. And I'm gonna do lay down this solid color here. And I'm actually doing this on a paper. So I'm going around, and sometimes I lay down the color just kind of solidly. And then I'll turn the paper, and then I'll go the other way. So you can kind of get like the full, I guess, quality, I don't really know how to say that, of the color. So that's kind of like my green color there. And that's just one color, so you can see how it lays down like nice and solid, and it kind of looks like it already has some like natural shading to it, which, you know, if you want to leave it that way, you know, just coloring pictures plainly is fun as well. But of course, everybody that watches any alcohol marker videos, it's all about blending. So the next one I'm gonna do 2 colors, and I got 2 different purples. So I got a lilac and a violet, and these are both also Copic markers or Copic markers. So I'm gonna lay down the lilac, I think. Yes, the lilac color first. And it looks like it's actually kind of like drying out a little bit. So let's try to hurry up and get through some of this. Yep, it's definitely drying out some. I have used this color quite a bit. And then I'm gonna lay out the darker purple, which seems to have lots of juice left. I think I used the lighter one more than I used this one. So this is the darker of the 2, and I only have 2 purples in the Copics, because of course a lot of my stuff is donated to me for friends and family. So I'm gonna go back over kind of this section here. Try to use like this flick technique, but a lot of times I'll kind of go into the darker color a little bit more. And because this marker is drying out a little bit, it might not blend that well. So I'm gonna try to get as nice blending as I can get out of these. So I'm trying to go over like some of the same sections. Let's see if I could smooth that out a little bit more. So I'm kind of going back over that real dark purple, but see if I can get this. Just so happen to pick a almost dried marker, so it's time for a refill on this one. But that looks a little bit better there, and kind of getting a little bit of a gradient. Sometimes you have to kind of really work it in there a lot to get it to really kind of blend a little bit. So here's probably the best I'm gonna get out of that for today. So that's kind of 2 colors there, and now I'm going to do 3 colors. So unlike the 2 colors, so I really had to kind of work that purple in there. I really had to work it like a lot in order to get some sort of gradient in there. And most of the time, if you have a 3rd color, which I'm about to do here, it's a little bit easier to make that much smoother. So I did do quite a bit of work trying to get that to blend well. So in this one, I'm going to use like I think this is from my Ohuhu pastel set. This is the blue-gray, and then the next color I'm going to use is, for the 2nd color, I'm going to use this Robin's Egg Blue. And then I'm going to do the 3rd color, which is going to be Sky Blue. So these are the 3 colors. And so I'm gonna lay down of course, the brightest color first. And if you're working with watercolors, sometimes, you know, you can start from dark if you want to, but I normally start from the brightest color and then I go to the darkest color. So that's kind of what I'm doing here with the marker. And a lot of times, like, some people just like color partially in the circle. I like to color the light color fully sometimes, but for today, to kind of save some ink, I'm just gonna leave that half there. And then here is the 2nd color, which is that Robin's Egg Blue, which is actually a really pretty blue. And blue is also my favorite color, so that's probably the reason why I chose to do the 3 colors in blue. And these are actually Ohuhu markers on Ohuhu paper, so they probably work really well together. And now here's the 3rd color I'm gonna lay down. And you can kind of see as the alcohol is like already wet from the previous marker, how it kind of like soaks into it. So I have a darker blue color. And now that I've laid those down, I'll probably go back to the lighter color and try to kind of blend that a little bit. So you can see how it starts to like kind of soak into the paper a little bit. And then I'll do the same with this one, just kind of try to blend it in the edges there. So you get like a pretty nice mesh of colors, or what people call gradient. I think that's what they call it. So that's my example of the 3 colors of how I blend. And sometimes I'll go over the whole thing with the lighter color So like if I did that on this half, like if I took the lighter color, so I'm about to mess up this half of the circle, but if I go all the way down, sometimes it makes it even smoother, but then if you blend too much, see how it's starting to bleed outside the circle? But sometimes if you go over the whole thing, it can actually make your entire illustration kind of mesh better together. So I don't know, that's how I like to do it sometimes. Maybe right, maybe wrong, I don't know. It just looks cool. So now, last but not least, I have 3 different colors. So I have 3 Copics or Copics, and I'm gonna do a red into an orange and into a yellow. And a lot of people say, wouldn't that mess up the tip of your markers if you mix the colors? No, it doesn't actually, because they're alcohol markers and it eventually will come off depending on what you're blending. So, and not to say all of these markers do have a section where you can see where the brush tip is versus the chisel tip. So there's like this little gray area right here, because I always had a habit until I really kind of figured that out from watching videos. I used to always open up the wrong side. I'm like, oh no, I want the brush tip. So there is a gray spot right here, a gray ring, I should say, around the section where there's brush tip. So I'm gonna do yellow first. So lay down the yellow. Ooh, that's pretty yellow. What yellow is this? This is lemon yellow. I've never seen an inside of a lemon this yellow, or an outside. I'm sure it exists. So I'm gonna lay down this yellow, probably a good halfway through the circle. And then I'm gonna pick up that orange, or throw my orange, but I was trying to pick it up. And I'm gonna lay this orange down on top of, partially on top of the yellow. Come around the edge there, try to make like a rounded kind of area. And then I'm gonna go back to my yellow. I'm gonna go back to the yellow, and I'm gonna kind of go around the edge a little bit of the orange. And try to kind of push that color around with the alcohol. And try to make some sort of gradient between the yellow and the orange, which is kind of tricky when you want to do 3 different colors like this, but you know, it's pretty fun to do. And kind of turns it into like a little yellow orange there. And then I have the red. So here's the red. This is a pretty dark red. This is strong red. That's why I guess it's a dark red. It's a strong red. And then I'm gonna go back with my orange, and I'm gonna go back over that. So as you can see, kind of doing 3 different colors is a little difficult, but you really kind of just gotta work it, and try to get it to kind of mesh a little better. So, and a lot of times when you do like kind of blend a lot, it will bleed a little bit over the line, but then again, that's also the reason why I kind of cheat, and if anything bleeds over the line, like right there, I'll use a fine liner and kind of cover that up and act like it never happened. There's another thing about fine liners. Yeah, they're fun to use, and they make line art look really good and everything, but they also cover up coloring over the line mistakes. So that's kind of like my gradient from red to yellow, and it's okay. But like again, like I did in the 3 colors, I can actually take my yellow kind of go over all 3 colors if I wanted to. And kind of blend it out. But then it kind of waters it down, because almost like if you use a brighter color and you go over the darker colors, it kind of almost acts like a colorless blender. It kind of picks up the color rather than really blending it in. So like you can go over it and you can get like the kind of this cool looking section of a circle, but I like this half of the circle. So that's my blending process. So my next thing is, let's color KK Bear. And of course she's looking at the ladybug and she's like, ooh, ladybug. There's KK Bear. And there's her ladybug friend. She's sitting on some grass and you can see her shadow. Her dress has a little bit of shadow. And of course, I always like to go in with my white pen. A little bit. My white pen will work. And there we go. Had to beat it up a little bit because I think this one might be new. So it's a new way to get your pen to work. If it doesn't work, just bang it up against something. So there we go. So I kind of round out her eyes a little bit more. And then you can add like a little bloop bloop to the leaf. And I think that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed what you saw today. There will be more illustrations of KK Bear. And odd enough fact, both of my cousins are actually real artists. Like they're really, really good. And I will try to, you know, kind of share their information throughout some videos just to check out their artwork. And just try to have fun with art. I know some people are like really specific about certain things. I personally have fun with art. That's not what I do on a daily basis as a, you know, livelihood, because I'm always playing music somewhere. And I will, of course, try to post videos as often as possible. Work is starting to pick back up, which is good for me. A lot of musicians have been very, very bored because, yeah, when you're doing recordings at home and meshing them with other people's recordings from their home, it's not as fun as playing together for real, in real life. So a lot of us are very happy to be back together, and I will also be posting videos of music on my page. There's already a few up, but just like I like to be educated in art, my main thing is that everybody loves music, and it's also a good thing to try and learn a little bit more about different styles of music. So if you listen to one style of music, maybe listen to a different style of music you've never heard before. I pretty much listen to everything, and sometimes when I'm playing, I have visions of cartoons, which is really funny because if you really think about it, Bugs Bunny cartoons, which I grew up on, has a lot of classical and like music, jazzy music, folksy music. So, you know, just all around, the art community is a lot bigger than I think some people even realize. I think I knew the art community was humongous, but being on YouTube, I want to join you guys and share my art style and watch y'all's art style. That would be great. And I do say y'all because I am from the South, so I'm Southern, so we say y'all down here. So I hope that you have a musical or an artsy evening and hope you enjoyed this video.